Hey guys, this is part 4 of the sample questions on the ACCUPLACER College Board test for the arithmetic section. Parts 1, 2, and 3 will be linked below, which contain the other questions.
Number 16 reads, what is 0.8637 rounded to the nearest hundredth? So if we zoom in, this right here is the tenths place. This is the hundredths place. And we want to the hundredths place. So we're looking at this right here. I'm going to rewrite the number like this. If we want to know what is that number rounded to the nearest hundredth place, we're going to look at the hundredths place right here. And we always have to look at what is to the right of that number, which would be this. If this number is 5 or higher, then it's strong enough to round this up one digit. So if it's a 6, it would go to a 7. But this number right here that we're looking at is not 5 or higher. It is a 3, so it's less. When it's less, it does not round this number. It keeps it the same. So if we have less than 5, so 4 and below, it does nothing. So writing it one more time, we want to round this, but the 3 is not strong enough, so this would just be our answer we're looking at, and we have to round to the hundredths, so we'd stop right here. So this is our final answer, 0.86, which is option A. So for number 17, it reads 60% of what number is equal to 30? So with that, we would have to figure out what order of operation we're going to be doing. And we're basically going to be doing division. We're going to be doing division because we want to figure out what number is equal to 30, being it's 60% of that number. So we had to find out this missing number, and we're going to want to solve this problem like this. If we did it this way, we would have gotten the wrong answer, so make sure you don't get mixed up with this and do not solve it that way. When we solve it this way, we have to make sure to convert the 60% into decimal form. Remember, we have to move this over 2 units, so it's going to be 0.60. And again, this is going to turn into this. So with this decimal out here, it's going to move 2 units to the right. 1, 2. Whatever you do on the outside, you have to do to the inside. So you realize that 30 does not have a decimal. We can make it turn into this. It's the same as 30 by itself. 30.0 and 30 is the same thing. So when we do this, now we have a decimal to move 2 places. When we move this decimal 1, 2 places, the decimal ends up here, and we're going to fill in this little spot with a 0. So to rewrite this problem neater, we're going to come down here and write 60 divided by 3000. Now we can solve the problem. So can 60 go into 3? No. Can 60 go into 30? No. Can 60 go into 300? Yes. By what number? 5. So we're going to put the 5 right here because we're using 300 and it ends right there. So we put the 5 there. We have 60 times 5 is 300. We're going to subtract, we have a 0. Now we're going to bring down this 0. Can 60 go into 0? Yes. How many times? 0 times. If we subtract, we get 0. So our answer we're left with is 50. And if we come up here, that is our answer. Option D is 50 for number 17. Number 18 reads, if 4 over 3 divided by 1 over 6 equals p, then the value of p is between which of the following pairs of numbers? So this problem could be solved very quickly, very easily using one method, and longer by using another method. I will briefly say what the long method is. You would divide this, solve that out. It's 0.75. You would divide this, solve that out. It'd be this. Once you get this, you would basically divide those two using long division and continue with that. You would get your answer. That is way too long. The short, simple way to do this problem is the following. You have 4 over 3 divided by 1 over 6. This division sign is going to turn into a multiplication sign when we flip 6 to the 1 and 1 to the 6. Like so. 4 over 3 times 6 over 1. So this division sign, when you see it, to divide fractions, you're just going to flip this guy right here into this. Make sense? So I'm going to erase that box. Now we can solve. We could solve saying 4 times 6 is 24, and 3 times 1 is 3, and then we would have to reduce that and we would get 8. Or we could have reduced it from the beginning by cross-reducing. So looking here, can 3 go into 6? Yes. How many times? 2. We cross that out, we put a 2. How many times can 3 go into itself? Once. We cross that out and put a 1. 4 and 1, if we were to do it, we would get the same numbers. We would get 1 here and 4 here. So usually when we have 1, we don't cross-reduce. So now our new answer would be 4 times 2, which is 8. And 1 times 1 is 1. Essentially, 8 over 1 is 8. So you got the same answer, but with this step, you reduce first. With this one, you reduce last. So since 8 is our answer, that means option D would be our answer because 8 is between 7 and 9. So number 18 is option. Number 19 reads, which of the following inequalities is true? So you want to find the true statement. So to do this, we're going to do a little trick. You can do this the longer way, but this is the short and simple way. I'm going to show you this way. We're going to cross multiply starting from the bottom and going up. So 4 times 5 is 20. Starting from the bottom and going up. 7 times 3 is 21. Over here, we're going to rewrite 21. We're going to keep the inequality sign, and we're going to write 20. So we're going to do this for B, C, and D as well. So starting here and going up, starting here and going up, we have 15 and 12. So we have 12, 15. Here we have 48 and 50. So 50, 48. The last one, we have 10 and 36, 36, 10. Okay. So we're going to be looking at these numbers over here. And basically, we're going to be reading the inequality sign. If you're not sure how to read the inequalities, this sign is less than. This sign is greater than. So we're going to read it from left to right, how you would read a book. So this one says 21 is less than 20. This one says 12 is greater than 15. And this one says 50 is greater than 48. This one says 36 is less than 10. So with that being said, we can all agree that this one is the true statement. 50 is greater than 48. That means C would be our answer. Number 20 reads, Carol works at a bookstore and a restaurant. In a 28-day period, Carol worked 1/4 of the days at the bookstore and did not work 1/14 of the days. On the remaining days, Carol worked at the restaurant. How many days did Carol work at the restaurant during the 28-day period? So Carol worked at a bookstore and a restaurant. And there are some days that she did not work at either place, and that is 1/14 of the days. So basically, we have to figure out how many days she did work and how many days she did not work. The places that she did work were the bookstore and the restaurant. So it says 1/14 of the days were at the bookstore, and that's 1/14 of 28 days. So this one is a bookstore, and then 1/14 of the days were at or she did not work. Actually, she did not work. So we want to find out how many days were at the restaurant. So to solve for this, of directly means to multiply. So we're going to rewrite this problem as 1/4 times 28. I would again rewrite this problem as 1/4 times 28/1. 28/1 is essentially the same thing as 28. I'm going to reorganize this so it's a little bit easier to read. Okay. So zooming in over here, we're working with this. We would cross reduce because if not, we'd have to just reduce at the end. So I would ask myself, 4 can go into 28 how many times? I get 7. How many times can 4 go into itself? 1. So now I have 1 times 7 is 7, and 1 times 1 is 1. Essentially, that's 7. So we have 7 days that are at the bookstore. And down here, we would write this as this. Again, rewrite it as this. And I would ask myself, how many times can, let's use the number 7. How many times can 7 go into 14? 2. How many times can 7 go into 28? 4. So now I have 1 times 4 is 4, and 2 times 1 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2 days. So the days that she did not work were 2 days. So if we add up the bookstore days and the days she did not work, we got 7, 8, 9. We got 9 days. So of the 28 days, if we subtract 9 days, which is the days just at the bookstore and days she didn't work, these are added together in the 9. We subtract that and we get 19 days. These are the days that she worked at the restaurant. And the question again says, how many days did she work at the restaurant during the 28-day period? Even though we added the 2 days that she did not work, that is still included in that 28-day period. So when we add the 2 days to the bookstore days, we get 9 days. We subtract the total day period, which is 28, from 9, we get 19 days. That is the remaining days that she had that she worked at the restaurant. So our answer for number 20 is option B.